Well, good morning, Freedom Team. What do we have here? August 17th. Man, we're starting to go on the tail end. You guys, as kids go back to school, a lot of times this is when things start to pick back up again, especially on the production side. But to me, people talk about attraction. Is there a better time? Is there a better month? Is there a better quarter? And I get mixed results all the time. There's times people say it's not a good time. I got other agents. It's the biggest production month they've ever had. So to me, it's all year long. It's a timing thing. You're just connecting with agents, and when the time is right and they get a little frustrated or discouraged, and you're the one who's maintaining a follow-up, good chance they're going to come along at some point in time and want to know more about where you're at, what you're doing, that kind of thing. So, anyway, as always, we've got a. Oh, before I jump into this with Jackie, I know we want to talk about the big thing that all of us leaders are going to. If you have never been to eXpCon, it's going to be in October on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of October. Highly recommend. This one's in Salt Lake City. Anyway, if you have not been, you guys, it truly is one of the most amazing events. I come from a company where we did events every quarter and they became a very extravagant. This is now paralleling with some of the best events I've ever been to. They don't hold anything back, but here's the beauty if you've never been. Almost every hour, other than the big general session where you'll be in there with a couple thousand people, there's breakout rooms. Sometimes there's five, six, eight, 10 different breakout rooms at the same time. You get the schedule before you go, and you can decide what it is you need more help with. And there's usually a breakout room and all kinds of production ones, all kinds of attractions. So, highly recommend it. Here's the other thing I always say when you go there, do your very best to network. Connect with six, eight, 10 agents a day. See if you guys connect, become referral partners, exchange phone numbers. But guys, you will walk away. And if the only thing that happened is you end up getting an extra referral or two, that obviously pays for itself. But usually you'll walk away with not only very encouraged and motivated and know you're at the right place, but you'll generally walk away and trust me, you'll kick it into another gear. It's very, very exciting to be around some of the top producers. So let's kick this off here with Miss Jackie. Let me give you a little bit of this young lady's bio. So Miss Jackie Bowman, and she's a real estate coach, full-time career in real estate for over 23 years, eager to impact the lives of others, currently a full-time private real estate coach, instructor, and public speaker, inspiring real estate agents nationwide with Glover University, actively a top-selling agent in Portage and Summit County and surrounding areas, offers a track record of success in sales, leadership, and commended for performance, passion for helping others succeed in selling homes or purchasing a new home and meeting the goals of any team. Committed to the growth and success of clients and customers through education, research, and business experience. A couple quick things. So she's been a real estate business and life coach since 2016 to present. She's a top real estate agent and growth leader here at eXp Realty. Um, she was over at Keller Williams from 2009 to 2013. She was full-time CEO, office manager of Keller Williams Elite in Strongsville. After only 4 years in the business, she managed over 175 agents, responsible for their productivity, profitability, growth, and culture of the company. So crazy, crazy background here, Jackie. So why don't we dig in and tell everybody? So, anything else you want to share, just kind of personally and stuff about you and so forth, before we jump into the business side?
No, I think you covered it. I'm here in Northeast Ohio and I live right near Kent State University. So we're about 40 minutes south of Cleveland, two
Okay,
hours north of Columbus. We're in the Eastern time zone, so it's 11 a.m. here. And
got you.
yeah, just I EXP has obviously completely changed our lives. And just like Sean said earlier, just we got lucky and we had someone ask us. And so I know we're going to talk a little bit about that. So just been forever blessed since. So it's been awesome.
I, I love it. What a great start, Jackie. I've said the same thing since the day I was approached with this. What a blessing. And I think the same thing when I'm attracting agents. You're just
Mhm.
going, I know that I can bless them if they decide to join and engage, right? There
Right.
is not another brokerage on the planet that has what we offer. And then I always think of the camaraderie, how everybody like you right now coming on, everybody's willing to help everybody. And that is very rare in real estate. We all know that.
We all want
Um,
you to have what we have.
Exactly, exactly. Well,
Yes.
real quick before we kick it off, so how many people are in your group, and then how many, I guess, do you have qualified as well?
I am at 448 in my group, and my qualified, I think we're at 19.
Okay.
And then I believe I have 20. I should have looked that up right before
Oh,
I
it's all
came on,
good.
right?
Those are approximate. Well, then you got
Yeah.
to be, Jackie, super excited about the point system,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said 448 because you need to get
Yes.
to that 500 active along
Right.
with points. So that is
Right.
fantastic.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about how were you first approached, and you having all of your experience and being over at KW, leading teams and all that. How were you first approached, and what was the main reason or reasons you decided to come over to EXP?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I've told this story many times, and I love this story because my if any of you were in the Keller Williams system at all, we have what's called an OP, which is an operating partner who is the main owner of that market center or franchise location. And I was his team leader from 2009 to 2012. And fast forward to 2017, he reached out to me in out of the blue. And back in 2012, when I resigned as the team leader, I gave him 6 months notice because I liked him so much. And I was like, listen, I'm just going to tell you it was July, that December 31st will be my last day. Like, I'm not going into the next year of 2013 as the team leader. It's been a little bit stressful on my family. I just need to pull back and go back into selling. And he's like, well, he goes, that's great because now you're going to find your replacement and train your replacement and you're not leaving. I'm like, okay, great. So he used me for the full 6 months and we left on really great terms. And so in 2017, he called me up and his name is David Best. Now, just so you can understand kind of the upline or the senior partners, if you will, of my organization, it's Elizabeth Riley, Jean Frederick, Lou Ronayne was my regional director at Keller Williams. David Best is my sponsor, and he was the operating partner of the market center that I was in. And then there's myself. And so David Best called me and he said, hey, he's like, I'd love to meet with you for a beer and just show you what I'm up to. He goes, you can't tell anyone we met. And I was like, okay. He goes, I just need you to tell me if I'm crazy.
That approach.
Yes. He goes, I just need you. I said, well, if you're going to invite me for a beer and have me tell you you're crazy, I'm all in. I hadn't seen him in 5 years. And so he's opening his, like, I'm a Mac person, I'm all Apple and everything. He's opening his Windows computer. It's, trying to shut him down. He's trying to get into the EXP world. This is in 2017, very clunky. He has no idea what he's doing. And he's presenting to me this EXP. And I would say the same thing if he was sitting right next to me and he'd agree that he did not know what he was doing. And I was like, Dave, I said, I'm not really sure what you're throwing down. However, I trust you. And if you are willing to give up the second most profitable market center in Northeast Ohio out of 13,
Wow.
launch something different, you're seeing something I'm not seeing. You're just having trouble communicating it to me. I said, and you caught me at a really good time because I'm managing a Berkshire Hathaway office and I absolutely do not like it. So I am all in. And so he not only caught me at the right time. So if you're writing this down, he caught me at the right time and he didn't know it. And I trusted him because I had a relationship with him. That I said I was all in. And then jokingly, I said, you just need someone to help you open Ohio because you've never done anything without a team leader. I get it. And I was your best. So I get it. So that's kind of how it came to fruition. But I'll be honest with you, I was in even though I didn't understand the model. And I think that's really important for everyone to take away is that sometimes there are agents who you're in relationship with that look up to you because of how you live your life, the decisions you've made in the past, how you are in a real estate transaction, what type of spouse you are, the things you share on Facebook. Like all of those things collectively are an earning of trust. And so I first, when I talk about agent attraction, especially when I first came in, a lot of my agent attraction training with my agents was be the spouse that everyone wants to be the daughter everyone wants to be the other real estate agent on the other side of the transaction that you want to work with. It's not about, pushing your elbows and taking control of the transaction and showing, your power. It's more about being that person that someone else wants to emulate. And so I think the first thing that I led with was character and really developing character with my agents because I feel that Every market is stressful, whether it's an amazing market or a stressful market, and agents are looking for leadership. And one of the things that I realized early on is that many of our other brokerages and our competitors, they had policies and they had sales meetings and they had those things, but they didn't have anybody personally leading them. And I would say that's the one thing that I highlighted to the agents that followed me. I actually helped them become leaders and had agents follow them. And I think that was probably early on. One of the keys to our success as our group is just really taking pride on leadership. Now, when you look across eXp, you're going to see many different revenue share organizations that have completely different value propositions. Nick Krem is one of my favorite people. I saw that you had him on not too long ago. And I mean,
Yeah.
they're leading with AI and, all these things. Everyone has something that they can share with another agent. And the one thing that I influenced my agents with was if you've been licensed for 6 months, you have something to share with someone who's been licensed 6 weeks. If you've been licensed 6 months, you have something to share with someone that's licensed 6 weeks. If you've only sold 10 properties in your career, you have something to share with someone who's only sold two. There's always a way to lead someone else and come from a servant leadership, coming from contribution position. And I think that's what's really helped our group the most.
Yeah. Wonderful. Two questions on some things you
Yeah.
said there. First of all, how did you know that I had that we have Nick Krim on? What were you looking at? You mind me asking? What did you find about us
Oh, I
or
was
me?
scoping out your Facebook and I was like, he's 60. He had a 60th birthday. I went through the whole thing. And I was like, does he have a son named Sean as well?
I do. I do.
So
Look
I was
at
like,
you.
okay, there's two Seans on Facebook. Let me try to figure this out. So
Oh, very,
yeah.
very
And so
good.
again, I'm very relationship based. So I think that's the one thing you'll find with me. Um, Albie Stasic's actually in my market area. I live
Oh,
about
okay.
50 minutes from him, and we're in completely separate revenue share organizations, but completely different value propositions and what we have to offer for our
Yeah.
agents. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. He had a meeting this morning. I jump on from time to time, 8:30 to 9.
it's awesome. Yeah,
I'll be Stacey. Yeah.
it's my
So you
dude.
said something obviously, and I know Kelly and I are probably thinking the same thing. You're bringing on agents and you're helping those who want to become leaders.
Yes.
What are some of the things you're doing to help them become leaders and begin to build?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is super important is understanding who actually is raising their hand to do the agent attraction and wanting to lead other people. And when you say you want to be a leader, that's really saying, I'm going to put my own personal agenda aside to help someone else get to where they want to go. And I don't think that's for everyone, but I think it's for a majority of people who want to grow. They want to grow their business, they want to grow their team, they want to grow their organization. Success is through people, you know? And so, what I would first do is make sure I understood what their goals were, whether it was to grow their business or grow their rev share. And then, of course, a lot of times people say, well, I don't want to mess around with rev share. I just want to grow my business. Okay, great, we'll do that. And then later on, I'm like, you have influence in the market. I mean, and right now, I promise you, I have an agent right now. He has a full-time admin and one buyer's agent, and they do about 140 units a year. And I
Wow.
cannot get him to participate in rev share. Okay, so it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you're missing out on
And,
something
and you know he
so
has
easy for
massive
you.
influence.
Massive influence, right? And he's a
Yes.
great agent and he's super nice. Um, but I think it's not about forcing the hand. It's finding the people who are raising their hand and
Yeah.
then developing them. Um, and so I can give you some early on examples of that, but I don't know how far you want me to
A,
kind of go.
a little bit because I kind of want
Okay.
to go. Kelly's thinking the same thing. So
Yeah.
if I raised my hand, I
Yeah.
joined kind of for the production and the rev share. I see it both.
Yeah.
Let's say it's that.
Hmm.
And yet, on the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, like everybody tells me, oh no, I want the rev share. What does it take to get there? But I'm busy with production. So how do you help me get
Yeah.
started and get rolling?
This will be good because we're going to do this in a real live experiment. So, Sean, are you in production and have you sold real estate?
No. So I'm that rare breed, so I'm not that perfect one to choose. Let's go with somebody who right now is doing
Who's
production.
in production,
Yeah,
but
but you're
hasn't
also
got,
wanting to, but you're really wanting to attract. I know
you want
people
to
jump onto Danelle. I don't put you on the spot. You're on here all the time. People that are
try?
producing, but you want to attract at the same
Okay.
time. Leanne, somebody step up and we'll go
Doesn't,
back and forth with
don't
her.
be
Anybody?
scared. I'm
Dawn raised her hand, Sean.
Don
gentle.
did? Okay, let's go. Let's go with Don.
Okay, Dawn.
Hi.
Dawn, nice to meet you.
Yes,
Oh, you're in Tampa.
I
Perfect.
am.
All right, cool. So, Dawn, how long have you been in the business?
29 years.
29 years. Okay. So you've had some success or you would have been out. I love it. I love it. So, Dawn, when you think back to early on in your career and even currently over those 29 years, what are some of the things in your real estate business that you do really well that has contributed to your success? Because let's face it, all real estate agents grow their businesses differently. I'm just curious, what do you think your main one or two forms of lead gen have been?
Um, was a big cold caller when I first started.
Okay,
So I was
perfect.
very good at that, which I'm doing now with agent attraction more.
Good.
Um, I'm very tenacious.
Okay.
I know my contracts really well.
Mm-hmm.
I really go the extra mile for people.
Yep.
So
Okay.
those are good things that I
Okay,
have.
good. And so when you look at the past 24 months of closed transactions, would you say they were from cold calling or from sphere of influence or open houses, or what other actions do you think contributed to those closings?
It's a combination of things. Somewhat sphere. I was with an agent attraction, not an agent, a deal attraction thing for a while. It's Home Light. I was with that.
Okay. Hmm.
A lot of past clients,
Okay.
expireds, things like that.
Okay, perfect. So you have a pretty good mix of different types of lead generation. So the first thing I would ask is, whatever you think is your number one way or what is more naturally in alignment with you in your real estate business, how can you emulate that knowing that agents are your prospects in the agent attraction business?
Good question. Um, Thinking. I
Because like
think,
home light is a purchased lead thing, so you can do that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, you said sphere of influence. How could we build a sphere of influence with agents?
A lot of contact. Notes,
Hmm.
offering them something of value,
Hmm.
home values, things like that. Potential newsletter,
Okay.
offering them some discounts, places. It's interesting in Florida because a lot of my clients are from here, but a lot of them aren't from here. So
Hmm.
that kind of makes it interesting. It,
Okay.
it,
So when you flip the prospects over to agents and they're your prospects, there's something of value after 29 years that you have that you can offer to agents that don't have it. They, first of all, they don't even know what they don't know that they don't have. And it's something that you could do with your eyes closed. Does anything come to mind?
Perspective. I mean, because even though every deal is different, a lot of them fall into the same basic categories.
Hmm.
And having gone through all those things and done all those things, is it a way of just keeping somebody at bay while you find out the information that you need? Is it just giving perspective, letting them know that things kind of work themselves out, and if they don't, you have ways to do it. And you
Right.
can always, and not to say you don't know something, but always find the way, find the information, find it. Be a resource. I think that's a big thing for me. I'm a resource. I mean, people always ask me, what about this? What about this? Which
Love it.
90% of the time I just do a Google search, but I'm not going to tell them that,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right. So I love that. So when you're looking for real estate prospects, you're sending them things, calling them, and somehow you're communicating to them that they can get a property value from you because you
Mhm.
know the market. You're sending these messages to the public, letting them know that you are the resource for their real estate transaction should they need to buy or sell, or someone they know needs to buy or sell. So when you look at the needs of a real estate agent, you have all of those things. What are some ways that you could, other than cold calling agents, what are some ways that you could show them the goods that you have to offer as an agent, as a resource to mentor, to lead? What are some things that come to mind? Anything?
I have been thinking about this. Maybe a webinar, maybe an event, something along those lines. Coffee chats just to get, to feel what's going on in the market, see what kind of issues you have, maybe a caravan. I don't even know about people do that so much anymore, but just
But
kind
they
of
would love it. I mean, I would love the caravan. If you're bringing margaritas, I'm coming. Like whatever. Okay, so Dawn, you are on the right track. So for everyone else on the call, what I did is I'm not telling Dawn what to do.
You're finding, yeah, you're digging it out of me. Yeah.
I'm helping her figure out what's in alignment with her and what she can offer. And so I would say to all of you, there's something that you can offer. I mean, we've had guys do like cigar and, whatever nights, right? Like they talk about different subjects, whether it's AI or, they'll do a cigar club every other month, 6 times a year. They'll invite agents from all different brokerages and they'll talk about whatever that subject is that night because that agent likes cigars or whatever. I had an agent in Georgia. She did really well with recruiting early on. And this was when Canva first came out. So this was like, not first came out, but when people started using it. 2018, 2019, Canva was big. Nobody knew how to use it. It was coffee and Canva. She studied up. She took all the Canva webinars. And she would teach all the other agents in her marketplace how to use Canva. She was providing something that was in alignment with her that other brokerages didn't even know what Canva was, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, well, I have my senior partner, Jackie. She helps me with this. Oh, let me help you since you don't have anyone to help you. Let me connect you with Jackie so that she can help you, right? So again, it's leaning on your senior partners. But here's a really good takeaway if you want to write this down. Don't just talk about the senior partners that you have and the resources you have. Share them and lean on your leaders. It doesn't need to be hey, Sean, I have a third-party call for you. It could be, hey, Sean, I have someone that's interested in learning about XYZ. I could have shown them myself, but instead I'm not going to be the know-it-all. I'm going to let Sean show them so that they can see transparently the support I have that they don't have at their brokerage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for us, we did a lot of organic, exactly what Dawn said. Webinars, small events, micro events to where I was highlighting my agent, like Dawn, as the leader, and then just being the support. So, so that was really good, Dawn. So I would say, anything else that comes to mind now that I've pushed you a little bit, if you're in a flow of thought.
Well, it's interesting because I've had a lot of thought about this. I mean, it's sort of like, how do I become a subtle leader myself?
Mm-hmm.
Am I a big, huge leader? No, and not now anyway. But, how do I develop something where I would like to do this maybe like once a month and even, maybe sometimes EXP people, sometimes not EXP people or whatever, a blend, and just do something, and I'm almost thinking like afternoon because everybody tends to do things in the morning, which is like most people's productivity time, something like a 4 o'clock happy hour or something like that, where we just sit around and shoot the bull, and get some ideas. And
is there anyone else in your marketplace doing this?
Well, there are some people doing some caravans and stuff mornings, a couple days a week. But I think a little afternoon thing would be better.
Is there anything different between you and them?
They're doing it.
Amen. She got it. Woo! I was going to say. And I always tell people this too, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Reels or the caravan or the whatever, do not allow yourself to have this imposter syndrome that you're not a leader yet, or you need to do something else before you start it. There's nothing else you need to do, Dawn, before you actually just go into Canva and create the little invite for the caravan and schedule it. And if one person comes, that's okay. If you and that other person had a blast, the next time 4 people will come. And all I would say is just experiment with it and do it. That's one thing. If you all are writing down notes, I want you to write down the word try. And I want you to put a big X over it. And then I want you to write down the word experiment. Dawn, I'm going to challenge you to experiment with your caravan idea for 6 months. and don't give up on it. Experiment with it for 6 months. And that word experiment gives you a little bit more confidence going in because you're really open-minded about what the result's going to be. That makes sense?
Sure.
But
And
there's no difference
yeah,
between you and the other people that are holding the caravans.
I appreciate this input.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Let's dig a little further. So obviously events in your own
Yep.
marketplace. I was back in Dallas when I started and got together with about 4 or 5 other EXP agents. We began to put on events every single week. We did that
Yep.
for the first 2 years. That's how I began
Mhm.
to build in Dallas.
Yeah.
But for everybody here, we've heard a lot of that. Let's give some other ideas. So you come on in 2017.
hmm
Um, did you begin to attract immediately then? And what is really different about the way you're attracting today versus maybe when you first started?
Yeah, I would say that, Sean, I'm a little unique in the fact that my retention is really high when it comes to my first and second tier,
Okay.
and I am more working through them than myself directly. Like full
Okay.
transparency, like I have not done really well at attracting to my first line in a long time.
Okay.
The other thing is too that they're um, helping my leaders build is more of what I'm after. I'm okay with not being my seventh level is not huge. So until that
Okay.
fire is under me, I'm like, I'm good. I'm in
Okay.
production, all those things. So that's what I will say with that. But I would also say that I'm not directly cold calling people. I've never really done that. I've really used the value and the influence with an agent to give them things that they haven't had before and they're going to naturally follow. And I know that's not an assertive prospecting way to do things, but I'm a little unique in that way to where that's kind of how I've grown it. So the agents, when I transferred over, I immediately had 6 agents transfer with me, and that started things, pretty deeply. So I think at the most I've had 32 or 33 in my front line and about 26 FLQAs qualifiers.
Okay.
So I've shrunk a little bit there, but my group has also grown,
Yeah.
you know.
Let's touch on both. Obviously, I'd love
Yeah.
the second part, going through people. Before we dig into that further, though, a lot of folks here are trying to get just that, get it going, just get their front line
Yes,
going.
yes,
So,
yes.
other than, and maybe we can dig deeper if people have questions about putting on the events and so forth. But so if this was your group and you were talking to 4 or 5 of us going, okay, I just want to get started. I
Yeah,
just want to start attracting my first handful.
yes,
How would you coach them along to maybe get things
yes.
started?
I would say any agent that you're in contact with, any agent that you come across, again, being that person of character where they're going to want what you have. What can I talk to them about that I have that they might not have? How can I engage with them and grab a cup of coffee based on the fact that I know where they're at in their brokerage or I know where they're at in their career? And a lot of times that comes with asking questions. So when I was speaking with Dawn, I was asking her a lot of questions. I'm sure she felt genuinely intrigued by the fact that I was interested in her. I wasn't telling her things, I was asking her things. So that's what I would say the number one thing is, you know, really looking at your communication and asking yourself, am I asking 5 or 6 questions for every time I tell them something?
And so to begin that, let's back up for a minute. So it's an agent, either maybe you met at an event or an agent maybe you just did a deal
Sure.
with on the other side.
Sure.
When would you bring that up to them in the midst of doing a transaction?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it during the transaction, but definitely, I mean, maybe during the transaction, I might ask a few questions of like, hey, like, how long have you been at your brokerage? How long have you been in the business? This deal seems to be going pretty well compared to my other ones right now. I really appreciate you, Kelly. Thank you. That kind of thing. Um, and it's a lot of complimenting, and it's a lot of just making that other person feel like I respect them, I see them, and I want to know more about them. And it could be at the end of the transaction, like, hey, this one was a doozy, or this one was smooth. It was amazing. I think we should celebrate. Do you want to grab a margarita or a cup of coffee over the next 2 weeks? I'd love to just get to know you better. right? And
Right.
that's what I'm going to ask her. And then when I get there, I'm just going to ask her all about her. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your husband. Tell me about your business. Tell me about your favorite transaction the past 12 months. Tell me what your biggest challenge was, right? And so I'm really going to sit there and find out as much as I can. And I'm really thinking about, okay, I'm going to build the book on Kelly for a while before I start showing her any kind of benefits or resources or things that I can solve. Even if I can solve her issue or her challenge right then and there, I'm going to kind of hold that back and build the relationship. The one thing that I've learned in my organization is people join people, they don't join companies. And so you're going to get the person absolutely that you cold call or comes to an event. And if they see it, they can't unsee it. And they're going to come over and then they're going to see and not be able to unsee something else later on. And they're going to do the same thing because that is how they were recruited in. That is exactly how they will be recruited out. So that is one leadership thing if you want to write this down. Whatever you came for, whatever that value you were attracted to and came for, that either needs to stay or maintain, or that person will likely leave for the same thing somewhere else. So, for example, if I promised Kelly that if she comes over, I'm going to make her a YouTube star, I've got all these resources for YouTube and I'm going to give them to her. Well, she never engages or plugs in. But 10 months later, someone else tells her they're going to make her a social media star, but they're going to do it differently than Jackie did. She's going to leave me for them. Does that make sense? And so I'm really asking Kelly questions to get to know her and inviting her for coffee. Going back to your question, Sean, during a transaction, I just want to be interested in someone and have them feel good about me being interested in them for them to say yes to a coffee or to a conversation.
Yeah. I like that. That's a learning point. I think we all hear it over and over, but you need to continue to hear it that the moment they say something like, "Oh my gosh, I got the answer and solution for that," to hold off, dig deeper, build the relationship, and maybe at another secondary time when you're talking, then you might bring up the value. You reminded me, you and I, when we spoke a couple weeks ago, you were telling me about so and so, then you might provide value. But the beginning, relationship, dig deeper, have them feel comfortable, continue to ask questions. Okay, instead of me, I could continue to ask because I could go down the retention route and all that. Before we go that route, anybody here? Because and first, I appreciate you guys jumping on. A lot of the same faces get on all the time. Ask some questions to Jackie for you. You come here, frequently. What is it you're wanting to know about? Because I could go down the whole retention a different route, but some of you in a probably different area than I am. So feel free. Anybody ask any questions to Jackie, or I will continue.
I would ask one, Jackie, your FLQA to FLA count is very, very strong. Outside of recruiting agents who perform and produce, what else do you do to help them stay qualified?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I would say that because I've modeled just honestly naturally being a coach and explaining to them how important it is to go to training or to go to this, to go to that. I mean, I'm one of those, like some of my people used to get annoyed with me. They're like, okay, you said this one's really, really important, but you say that about every single one. Like, do I have to go to this one? Like, because I can only go to so many, you know? So then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to cool it with like what's really important, what's not important, right? But I think, Kelly, it goes back to asking them like what their annual goals are. Where are they at in their annual goals? And asking like for you specifically, if I were coaching you, I would say, Kelly, whoever you're thinking of, I want you to write down 10 questions that would pull pain out of them enough to then say, you know what? There's this fast cap thing that I think you should do because this agent just told me they got 2 leads from that. And I think you should take this. I really personally think that this could change your entire real estate career. See how that's different than just blasting that to all your agents? I think it's that one-on-one. Yeah,
It's
good
good.
question.
Thank you. Melvin, my friend, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Jackie, for sharing this morning. Uh, my question is, you said that you don't really cold call,
Mhm.
and you get the agents that you recruit, you get them from the transactions that you're doing. Do you have anybody in your team that cold call or get agents a different way that is succeeding?
Yes, I do. I have a group in Cincinnati. I don't know if any of you know Monica Weekly. She's actually on our eXpI board. She's our agent that's on our eXpI board. She's actually in my front line. She definitely does the cold calling, but what she's done is she's created an environment to where she has reasons to call them for events, for things that she's going to, things that she's discovered. Hey, I just went to this AI certification class. I got some things. I'd love to share them with you, or an email. So she definitely does, and she does very well. Her name's Monica Weekly. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, do you mind me asking, Monica, about how many people she have in her group?
She is at about 180.
Ooh, do you think she'd be game for me in the next month or two to come on?
Yeah,
And
for
okay,
sure. For sure.
awesome,
Yeah, she
wonderful.
would definitely. Yeah.
So keep an eye on that, Melvin. I'll reach out to Monica and see if we can line it up.
Yeah.
Monica Weekly. Yeah, she's great. She's
Yeah.
great.
So thanks for asking that. Because yeah, there are some people that are just going to go different approach and maybe need to cold call.
Yes.
You've gone through your warm market. You've gone through everybody, Melvin. You're
Sure.
probably like, Melvin's got a good sized group out in California as well. So he's in a different, and you got how many, you got like 80 to 100. How many you have, Melvin, in your group?
Got about 70.
70.
70.
Okay. Which is
Awesome.
phenomenal, bro.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal, right? You know, you're still in the top 1%. Anybody that has a group
Correct.
of even 50, 30, 20. Yeah, some more questions, you guys. Thanks for asking, Melvin. Anybody else questions?
I'd go after the retention side. Again, you have strong agents doing
Yes.
good work. From a retention side, how are you staying connected with your agents, providing value?
Yes. So one of the things that I've done is, especially for locally, I run the AHA meetings, the Agents Helping Agents meetings in our area, and really encourage them to come to that. Honestly, we'll still get, a 10% turnout to that, 10 to 20%. Um, but I think it's connecting. I connect with them on social media. Like, I definitely systematically make sure that I'm stalking their profiles like I did Sean's, make sure I understand what's going on in their life, going on in their career. But I think once they understand that you actually care about them and their goals, and then also, I would say, just being available to them. And they've always known, I mean, they've always known, like, hey, if you can't get a hold of the brokers or you're having an issue with EXP, do not get frustrated. Just call me. And there are other organizational leaders that are just like, man, if my people called me for some of the things that your people call you for, like, I wouldn't even want them in my organization. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, I will tell you, I think that is part of my retention, because they know, like, when it gets down to it, if they needed help or they needed scraped up off the floor, I'm going to do that for them. And so I would say just that individual attention is huge. And then, I mean, but I've had people leave that didn't even tell me they were going to leave. And I'm like, man, after all the stuff I did, you couldn't even call me. Well, it's because they knew I'd talk them out of it, right? So they didn't call me. But I've also gotten a lot of people that have left and come back. I've had 2 people out of my front line leave for leadership positions that they were offered at other companies, which completely feeds their ego. They've built their business, even though I'm like, I coached you the whole time to build that business, and, whatever. They've left, and 6 months later they've come back. And so it's not because I recruited them back. It was because I told them, I was like, you know what? You need this for your resume. I completely see why you took the position. I said, I want you to try it out, experiment with it. If you like it, great. If you don't, you can always come back here. And I would call in and check in. How's it going? Jackie, you were right. This is not all it's cracked up to be. I'm like, oh, really? Like, but I think just being that in that true relationship with that person is what matters. So,
It's funny. I'm doing that with a half a dozen agents right now that have left. And
yes.
I've got 2 or 3 that are
How's it
looking to
going?
possibly come back, right?
Yeah.
They've
How's
like
it
they've,
going? What,
yeah,
tell me what they've got over there. Like, just so I know, like, talking to them, like, you all are on the same team, even though
yeah,
you're now at different brokerages, you definitely have an opportunity to get them back. And I
yeah.
wanted to go back to Melvin because something just came to my head wherever he's at. There he is. So, I use this example whenever I do coaching about real estate production, but I'm also going to give this example when we are talking about agent attraction. You could line 10 agents up or organizational leaders up on a stage, and let's just say each one of us has 350 in our organization. You could interview each one of us, and every single one will have done it differently because every single one of us is a different person and we have different talents. We have a different vibe to us. I mean, could I do cold calling and succeed? Absolutely. Are there coaches and people that love me, like Mr. Nolly Williams, who thinks that I have so much potential? If I were to just cold call, I'd blow up my organization. Yes. But we all do it differently, right? And I think, and I always tease like David Best is my senior partner. You know, him being at a social event with, kissing babies and doing ice cream socials, probably not his thing. But to me, I'd crush him in that area all day long, right? And so we have to realize that when we're looking for the key or the answer or the one thing that's going to help me grow, it's what have I done before in my life successfully? How have I grown my real estate business successfully? What does that look like? And like I went with Dawn, how can you recreate that exact same thing within growing your organization? Because for me, I could definitely cold call and go through all the training and learn all the scripts and do all the things. And I very well could be missing out on a huge opportunity. And I think we all, if we're just starting, start with where you're aligned and don't feel like one person has it right and another person has it wrong. The way Melvin's doing it and the way people are cold calling and doing it, they're doing it right for them. And I'm doing it right for me. It's just different. And I always tell people, give yourself permission and just write this down. I give myself permission to experiment with these two ways for X amount of time. And this is the commitment I'm going to make to myself to do these. And if I succeed this way and Sean doesn't, or I succeed this way and Kelly doesn't, that's okay because I'm only after my success, right? And what's going to be in alignment with me. And you may be able to discover a way to grow a rev share organization that no one's ever heard of. Right? So
Yeah.
I just had to get that out.
No. It's very good. I like that. So just find something in alignment with you that you feel comfortable with. But the two things you said is the same thing you do on the production side. I always say find at least two things you want to do for marketing, for production. Stick to it for 6 months to a year, whatever that time frame is. So let me break down because we're talking about you have a lot of retention within your first two levels.
Yes.
Um, do you systematically have down where you know what? I'm going to make sure I touch base with them on a phone call or meet for coffee at least once a month or once a week? Is there some kind of a system you use to stay in contact with the first two levels?
I did for a long time. See, you guys are calling me out on my stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I did for a very long time. And one of the things that I used to do um, all the time was I would just do a video or just a voice memo, which I still do a lot of voice memos. Instead of just texting Sean, I might just click my little voice memo on my iPhone and I'll be like, "Hey Sean, just wanted to touch base with you, see how you were doing. I hope you and the grandkids are well. I saw that, he loves bubbles, whatever." And because I stalked your page, right? And so what's so that's those are things that I would do consistently, but I would follow a spreadsheet. So I'm not going to go on social media and just browse the news feed. Like that's a complete time suck. But today it'd be like, okay, I'm going to send voice memos to 10 of my agents or whatever. So doing that in a systematic, I still do it. I just don't have the spreadsheets that I'm checking them off. I'm doing the whole thing. So, but definitely being intentional about that, I think is huge. And then getting them engaged in things that, I mean, I've done 1,000 real estate transactions. I've done this 23 years. And I will still go to a class and I will say, I'm going to this class because I know that I'm still going to learn something. But you know what, Kelly? I think you going to this class is even more important than me being there. And I want you to take this class with me. That's kind of because really, if they're not in production and they're not growing and they're not moving towards their unreal life or whatever you want to call it, their big why,
Yeah.
they're going to look for that somewhere else. So I have to continuously know what that is, feed that, and get them engaged and get them especially for retention with EXP, get them engaged in things that EXP offers. But also if there's something Sean offers or Kelly offers, or if you're offering it personally, a value, that's great too. I think it's huge.
Yeah. And so production, you're still in production right now, Jackie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually stepped out of production for about 6 years while growing EXP and growing my coaching company. And then I've been on the Glover U bench for about 3 years, and all of their coaches were in production. And I was like, well, that's because y'all don't have rev share. Um, so, so but I realized that after 6 years, I was just kind of out of touch with the pain of writing 6 offers for a buyer and them not getting it. And I'm like, okay, well, either the stuff I'm teaching you is crap or you're just not listening to me. Let me go see for myself. And so I literally had to go back into production because I'm like, okay, they were just not listening to me because this works, but it gave me a little bit more compassion and more respect because a lot of them started to say, well, she's not even in production anymore. She doesn't really
Yeah.
know. So I will still do 20 to 25 transactions a year just to stay in the business
Oh,
because
you poor thing. Just 20 to 25.
20 to 25. Well, I'm in Northeast Ohio. Y'all, my average sale price is like 300. So it's quite
Yeah.
low. I mean, we sell $150,000 houses here all the time. So it's, we just do a
Wow.
lot more units. We just do a lot more units than
Yeah.
y'all.
150. I didn't even know that still exists.
You guys, we have to be anywhere between 36 and 43 units to Icon.
I gotcha. That's how low you
Okay.
are.
Just
Yeah.
so you guys know, in our market, it's you got to be at least 35 plus transactions to Icon.
Woo. Yeah. And that's hard to do
So
solo.
it's just a different perspective. And for
Yeah.
us, we're like California people were like, you only did 8 units? Like, like how does that work? But we're all
Yeah.
making,
That's
it
right.
is.
1.5 million each. Still
Right.
getting to the
That's
million.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
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 I love all the different markets. It is a totally different perspective when you look at all the different markets, price points,
For
and all that.
sure. For sure.
Let's think. First of all, thank you for just giving us a bunch of feedback. I can see the coach in you is constantly asking questions and all that, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think right now. Let's go with this. So you're getting close to the 500 mark.
Hmm.
You went 6 years of really doing a lot of attraction. Now you're kind of doing a combo of both.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you set up your week? So we got a lot of folks here doing the same thing. They're in
Mhm.
production and wanting to do rev share. How do you segment your time and how you will do both?
Gosh, that is always such a good question. Like we've never talked about this before, right? No, it's really a tough thing. Um, I I tend to have a little bit more attention deficit, and I am a very high I and a very high D. My D's come down a little bit, but very high I, and so I don't like to do the same thing every day. And regimen and keeping me in a box and just time blocking, like all of that stuff to me is like, ugh, I don't want any of that. Don't put me in a cage, kind of thing. However, as a coach, those are the coaching clients that I'm best with because what I have done is I've adapted and said to myself, okay, if I want to hit this goal, I want to attract 10 more in my first tier or my first line in the next 12 months. What would I need to do monthly? What would I need to do weekly? And then what I do is I leave myself the freedom to say, okay, if I have to monthly hold one event and weekly contact X amount of people, if I do all of that on a Friday from 10 a.m. until 3, that's the freedom I have. But what I have to do is promise myself to stay committed to the commitment of that I said I would do 40 contacts by Friday at 10:59 p.m. or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
The reason I love social media and I love the voice memos and the video memos is if I send someone something on Facebook in a private message on Facebook at 9:02 p.m., it's completely acceptable, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about setting deadlines and commitments. If that's growing my first line, great. If it's providing social events and things so that my tier 1 and tier 2 agents can attract, okay, well, how many do I need to do per month?
Yeah.
What does that mean for me weekly? I'm not so much one to say, I do this from 8:30 to 9:15 because I've just been like, if that hasn't worked for me yet, why am I beating myself up? I give myself permission to recommit and experiment with something different. And so I don't believe you need to be part of the 5 a.m. club to be successful. I believe that a commitment to yourself and doing what you say you're going to do is what makes you successful. So,
Yeah.
but splitting those, I think, is hard when you're in real estate transactions because you just never know when you're going to be needed. And I feel that it interrupts that time. So it gives me that freedom to say weekly, I'm committed to doing X for my organization. And weekly, I'm committed to do X for my real estate business.
Yeah.
So that's
So
how I would
something,
answer.
yeah, it's you said something key, and all of us have heard this. Sometimes we just need to hear it again. You always need to reverse engineer everything you're doing. So if the ultimate goal is, God, I want 6 agents this year, and the next 12
Right.
months, every other month, what do I got to do? Well, you don't know what you'll have to do until you get into activity and start to experiment.
Correct.
Okay, I
Correct.
need to put on one event a month. What generally happens that event? If I just get started, only 3 show up, the next one 9 show up. What you have to get into action. If I have to make 10 cold calls to reach 3 agents to have one come on a Zoom with whatever it is so everybody, this is all common sense, but you figure out what is your goal, reverse engineer it, but then
Right.
you have to get into activity to understand how much of that do I need to do to achieve that result. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, I like everything you're saying. I love doing these every Monday. A lot of things, there's a lot of overlap, but like you said, everybody has that little unique thing they do. And I think the biggest thing I've gathered from you is what is that about you, yourself, each one of us, that you feel like you've got that you could offer to someone else that could truly provide value to them that they don't have that. And you won't know that without getting to know them and asking them questions. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway,
I
all
actually,
great, great
something
stuff.
else came to mind for me to share if I have 2 more minutes.
Oh
If
yeah,
you're just
please.
starting out and you want to do this a little bit more relationship based, what I would do is if you can somehow from your MLS or from your senior partners get a list of all of the agents that are in your marketplace, somehow get an agent roster of some sort. I want you to go stalk their Facebook pages. And I want you to decide who you would want to be friends with. Who would you want to be part of your team? Even if you don't know them, and friend request them. Agents friend request each other all the time. That's where I would start. And then I would say, okay, I have a hit list of 100 agents, or I have a hit list of 50 agents. I'm going to friend all these people on Facebook, and I am going to love on them. I'm going to like their stuff. I'm going to comment on their stuff. And every now and then, I'm just going to send a direct message, right? So I stalked Sean's Facebook page and I saw something about grandson and your bubbles or something, right? That's it.
Yeah,
So I probably
yeah,
went far back. I don't know when that was posted. But I might say to you, hey, it looks like you have amazing grandchildren. Just curious, is he your only grandson or do you have more? I compliment, there's a formula for this. If you want a formula from Jackie, it's like the post. Actually, you do a heart to the post because liking, that's cheap. You just do the heart, right? Like the post, love the post, comment on the post. And then if you're internally prompted, do not force it, but if you're internally prompted, I want you to compliment the person, mention their Facebook post. That's why you're contacting them, not because you're weird and you're creepy, because you were intrigued by what he posted about his grandson with the bubbles. And then this is the key. Ask an open-ended question that I know that Sean wants to answer. He's going to want to answer me about his grandchild. Why wouldn't he? So now we start a relationship. So now Sean and I are dancing together on Facebook. If we can dance together on Facebook with 50 people and then you decide to hold a coffee, guess what? You're going to have a much better turnout. That make sense?
yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the things that we've done in our group. And we got that from Hank Avink. I used to coach with Hank if you ever had Hank on here. But
Haven't had him on, but I know Hank.
but yes, we started doing that social media thing back in 2017 and we were doing that for real estate clients, but I just applied it to social media as well. So
Is he one of your business partners, Hank? Is he
no,
upline from
he's
you?
not. He is not. No.
I'm trying to think if I had Hank on, Kelly. Hank Abnick.
I feel
AVNIK?
like you did.
Yeah,
I
Avink.
feel like we did maybe when we very, very first started this, but
Yeah.
he'd be a good one to reach back out to.
Yeah, I will.
He does a lot of unique things, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And he's just
Avink,
different.
AVINK. Yep, Hank. He's great.
Yeah.
Jack,
Perfect.
So
I
anyway,
had a
that's what I would leave
question.
you with. Yeah. If you're
Well, I
just
just had a quick question. So
Yeah.
following that through, two things. My questions are around your events. Do you then ultimately invite those people to an event versus, maybe a coffee too, but to
Mhm.
one of your AHA events that you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you do the AHAs or for any event, like people don't have to do the what they call AHAs, but
Yeah.
are you the teacher? Or are you bringing in other people?
I'm bringing in other people, but I usually will have my agents in my organization. And in your case, if you don't have agents yet, have other agents at eXp tell their story, share, and I always elevate them. I know some people have rules about not elevating agents from other brokerages. We've done it both ways and have had success both ways.
Mm.
So I don't really have a hard stand on if it's, you know, if you're trying to elevate the egos of people from other brokerages, or if you're inviting them and then elevating eXp as being the leader. It's just however you want to look at it. But I see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So in those events, EXP not really being brought up, or you, okay,
No,
it's pure training
your
value and
training value, right?
yeah.
And it's like if we bring an eXp agent up on the stage, it's like, oh, I want to follow her. I want to get more resources from her. Because at the end, it's always follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, connect with me here, that kind of thing. So, um, as you grow your organization, it's easier to elevate your agents than being the leader. So I try to really step aside and just kind of MC a little bit and that kind of thing.
Do
Gotcha.
you and or the agents that you bring in, do you kind of coach them, teach them to, right, you're going to maybe have people register for the event so you know how many you're expecting, but then do you do follow-up, drip campaigns, staying in touch with them, dropping
We
in
usually do it via
newsletters
text
or-
and via phone. If they've
Okay,
RSVP'd, we do it text and phone.
yeah.
I'm not a
I
big
mean, after the event.
Oh, after the event?
Yeah.
Yeah, email drip of certain resources, things like that, just through like a MailChimp.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And by
Okay.
the way, I've also, for those of you that do have some organizations, I've also gone to my agents and said, if you were to host an event, what would it look like? Who would you help? Let me help you get the venue. Let me help you get the thing. And I want you to lead it. And I kind of push them into not feeling like they're not worthy enough of being a leader and having an event because they really can. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point. Very good point.
All right.
I'm sitting there thinking about that for a minute. When you put on events, you invite your guest, other agents invite their guest. Do you ever have any worries or concerns going, oh my gosh, I've got these other great EXP agents that are going to do this with me. I'm afraid my guests may go, oh my gosh, that person was awesome. Does that ever come
Right.
across to you?
Yes. Thank goodness we have co-sponsorship now. And
Yeah.
back in the day we didn't. And I will tell you, it did cause some conflict there,
Yeah.
especially when I had two or three agents in my front line that wanted to collaborate together on events.
Yeah.
And then one person from that audience wanted to come over and name
I'm
one.
sorry, I had my ringer turned off
Yeah.
because there's a little girl sleeping.
Uh-oh.
Whoop.
Uh-oh.
Can't
Someone,
see, don't have my list up. I
that's
hope the
okay.
little girl's sleeping.
Yeah, that's right.
Got it.
No, but so that would cause some conflict sometimes. But it
Yeah.
was more of like, hey, if we do this together from here forward, we
Yeah.
can do a round robin. If they're in completely different rev show organizations, there was an opportunity for co-sponsorship now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And now there's
great question.
FLQA sponsorship where you can
Yeah,
even do it with somebody within your group.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
love that.
Speaking
Yeah.
of that, real quick, because I've got a guy in my group who's getting ready to do it right now, Bill, and we keep going back and forth with corporate. Some people are not aware of the whole FLQA sponsor, never even heard of it. You can talk to brokers, they have no idea. Do you by
Yeah.
chance have the most recent link? The link I had, I've got about 5 FLQA sponsors within my group, but we're going back and forth with two people at corporate. They're like, well, let us look around. We're not sure about it. Does anybody have that latest link for
The
FLQ that
latest link.
explains it? Right.
I
So
mean, I
once
haven't.
somebody
Oh, that explains it.
explains it. And once somebody joins, I know you have like X
There's
amount
a
of
form.
time in
There's
which,
a
yeah, you got
form
to
that you
fill
fill
up.
out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think with the FLQA sponsorship, the form needs to be filled out and approved. Don't quote me on this, before they join. Kind of like when they used to do the placeholders.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's an actual like PDF form you fill out. It's
It
not
is.
like the
And
co-sponsorship
the old
thing.
one I have goes to it's no link. And I used it literally about 4 months ago. Now today it's not a link. But anyway, we'll go into,
Well,
you don't
I'll
have to look.
text you. I'll find it
Okay.
for you.
If you see it, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Jackie, thank you, dear.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for pouring into the team.
been awesome.
Yeah, I
Got a
feel
great group here.
your passion, your coaching, and all that is awesome. And guys, obviously, she's available for co-sponsorship. I love the idea, like you said, it's a game changer. The whole
For sure.
co-sponsorship is
Oh
such a
yeah,
game
for
changer.
sure. For
It
sure.
really, really is. And the same thing within our group. If you've never heard of it, if there's someone in our group you want to do sponsorship with, it's called FLQA sponsorship. Once I get the link, we'll make sure
Mhm.
maybe we add it to our website because you
Yep,
can co-sponsor within anybody within the Freedom Team. Okay, it doesn't
correct.
have to be outside of it. So, Jackie, would you like the video for me to send over?
Sure, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay,
Jack,
All right.
fantastic.
what
Well,
area do you work in?
I am in Northeast Ohio, so Cleveland. I'm north of Columbus and south of Cleveland, so I'm just that whole Northeast Ohio section.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
awesome. Well, you
Thank
guys, thank you for jumping on as always. Sincerely appreciate
Well,
it.
Sean, let me share. Tomorrow we're
Yeah,
having how to sell your listing fast in this market. So come tomorrow, same time, same link, and learn some tips if you've got any listings that are sitting there, how to sell them fast in this market.
perfect, perfect. Jackie's, thank you again.
Thank
Sincerely
you.
appreciate it. Congrats on your success. Hope you
Thank
finish
you.
off an incredible year. All
You
right.
too. You as well.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.